Sean Payton obliterated Nathaniel Hackett's coaching job last year as the Denver Broncos head coach that, lasted 9 weeks, 10 weeks? It was short and sweet. Now he's the offensive coordinator of the Jets.
It was a memorable short stint.
Memorable for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
Right?
They had to bring in a decision maker. Remember they had what was his? It was consultant. It wasn't consultant. It was like a head coach liaison.
Yeah, he was like the spotter / what you should do on certain downs.
Like the obvious, hey, you should punt here or go for this 4th and 1.
Yeah,
you have 2 timeouts left, coach.
Yeah, and there are other teams. A lot of teams have that guy, but they had to do it after the fact
and publicly.
Yeah, it was a former Baltimore Ravens guy, I think, that did it. But in an interview with Jarrett Bell, longtime NFL writer for USA Today, he went into detail about the issues last year. Was a 5-win team in Denver. Russell Wilson got the big contract and the trade, and nothing went right for him. He did not look the same as he had the previous 9 seasons in Seattle, 10 seasons in Seattle. And here's Sean Payton, Chad, just reading the quotes here, discussing that with Jarrett Bell. Everybody's got a little stink on their hands. It's not just Russell. It was a poor offensive line. It might have been one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. That's how bad it was. And he went into further detail, but it's like he said something about Wilson didn't just flip, meaning he didn't go from being a good quarterback to an awful one. And he put it all on Hackett and his coaching job. Quote, there's so much dirt around that. There's 20 hands for what was allowed, tolerated in the frickin' training rooms, the meeting rooms. The offense, I don't know Hackett. A lot of people had dirt on their hands. It wasn't just Russell. He didn't just flip. He still has it. This BS that he hit a wall, shoot, they couldn't get a play in. They were 29th in the league in pre-snap penalties on both sides of the ball. And then ripped Hackett again further about not allowing Wilson's personal quarterback coach to be with him or have access to the building. Heard that before in Foxborough with the trainer for TB12 with Tom Brady. Quote, that wasn't Wilson's fault. That was the parents who allowed it. It's not an incrimination on him, but an incrimination on the head coach, the GM, the president, everybody else who watched it all happen. Everything I heard about last season, we're doing the opposite. That was Sean Payton. Props.
Bravo, Sean Payton. You are the antidote to the tired, stale NFL mantra of just completely saying words that mean nothing and never showing any personality. This is the breath of fresh air. I thought it was going to be Mike McDaniel. He's got a good personality, but he's not saying this. He's not going scorched earth and lighting just an entire organization, all leadership at every level, all the players, lighting them all ablaze. This is amazing. I applaud you. Thank you for the honesty. You said what we all knew, that Nathaniel Hackett got the most out of being a good ping pong partner of Aaron Rodgers than any coach in history. Because I don't know how anyone could be that bad in that short of amount of time. And I've watched that and I think, how could anyone interview this person and believe that they are the man for the job? Great job fooling everyone, Nathaniel Hackett. Great job in those battles of ping pong with Aaron Rodgers to get his respect during that time. But man, oh man, was it a disaster, his tenure there. And props to Sean Payton for saying it and not being afraid of how people are going to react to it and whose feelings are going to get hurt by it.
He
just doesn't care.
He's talking about the talent on his team that he's inherited. He says, I'm going to be pissed if this is not a playoff team. And he goes into detail about it doesn't happen often where NFL organizations get embarrassed, and that's what happened here. Part of it was their own fault relative to spending so much bleeping time trying to win the offseason, the PR, the pomp and circumstance, marching people around and all this stuff. I mean, it goes on and on.
My favorite line was, everything they did before, we're doing the opposite.
We're doing the opposite.
We're going to do the
Everything
exact
I've heard
opposite.
they did, we're doing the opposite.
I'm asking people that knew, what did you do in this situation? How did you handle this? And my response is always, we're going to do the exact opposite of that.
Nathaniel Hackett right now is definitely among the names that come to mind for worst coaching job. For the length of how long he lasted as a first-time head coach, but also just how inept the game management was. He was not ready.
Yeah, Urban Meyer as a contemporary is right there with him.
Urban Meyer, I would say Bobby Petrino in Atlanta, Ken Wisenhunt with Tennessee definitely comes to mind.
Nathaniel Hackett had more talent, more expectations
Sure.
than an Urban Meyer. I think Urban Meyer publicly probably had more wrong, but he didn't have the expectations that the Broncos had when they traded for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, but he was going to be the savior that got them back with Trevor Lawrence. And they had a young roster. And then you see what Peterson did last year with that group, who he came in and just treated the players the opposite way, going back to what Sean Payton's saying he's doing. They said Payton's bringing more discipline and focus to that. So what happens with the Broncos this year? Again, we know about the division. Beyond that, though, I think this also is he's being blunt, but what it also does is it takes away any attention right now on Russell Wilson.
Well, and I think it's twofold. He's a smart guy. I think it takes the attention off of Russell Wilson. It helps him out because he knows he's got to get some good things out of Russell Wilson if he's going to be a success. It also puts the onus back on the players to change their mental state of who they should be and who they are. Because a year ago, this was seen as the Broncos are going for broke. They are going for a Super Bowl. They've got Russell Wilson now. They've got the young receiving options. They've got a good defense. They're going to go try to win a Super Bowl. And then disaster struck. So this is Sean Payton psychologically trying to return them to a year ago and what they thought when the Russell Wilson trade happened. And to erase last year, write it off on the idiot former head coach and everyone around him, and also say, you guys were disappointing. You guys were bad. I'm going to be pissed if we're not a playoff team because you are a playoff team. Psychologically, I think that has a huge bearing on a team when you say things publicly like this.